Leadership isn't just about rising up, it's about rooting down. If you see yourself as a leader, listen up because this episode is for you. In this episode, I speak openly and candidly about what it means to be a leader in today's post pandemic world. Tune in and learn when to step back from your devices and platforms, why it's important to live in the 3D world and not just the 5D or 7D spaces, why staying grounded needs to be your main priority right now, why you may need to shift your business and your messaging, and how to show up and be a better leader for humanity. Now, if you have yet to do so, please grab a copy of my new book, Potent Leadership. It's available on Amazon all over the world. Grab your copy today, potentleadership.com. And whether you are a loyal listener or a brand new listener to the podcast, welcome. Please, please, please take a moment to download a few episodes and drop a rating and review on iTunes. Every single download, rating, and review helps get this podcast out to more leaders around the world. I could not do this without you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Now it is time to talk about what's desperately needed in leadership today. Beyond the narrative, underneath the veil of illusion, and deep within your center, therein lies potent truth. Welcome to Potent Truth, where today's leaders, change makers, and light carriers come together to question the narrative, arrive at potent truth, and lead with sovereignty. What is potency? It's who you are beneath the masks, facades, and protective gear. It's the medicine humanity yearns for, cries out for, prays for, and needs. Your potency is what sets you apart, magnetizes your following, and creates movements. Join me, Ruby Fremon, for weekly guidance, channeled messages, and potent conversations that will take you on a journey of self-discovery. I am here to guide you to a place of unraveling the programming that's been keeping us stuck for generations, unlocking potent truth and expressing it through sovereign leadership. It's time for change. It's time for potent truth. Hey, leaders, and welcome to another episode of Potent Truth. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know where I'm going with this episode. I woke up this morning and it was just one of those mornings where I am filled to the brim with emotions, with feelings of heaviness, with compassion, with despair, with grace, with love, with grief for our collective and humanity and what's taking place in our world. It's been interesting. So I was off grid for my birthday. At the time of recording this, it's been about a week since I've been back on the grid. And I really only took 3 days off, like 3 nights and 3 days, 3.5 full days off of the online space completely. Like I didn't even have connection in my tiny cabin. And while I was there, there's always like the first little bit of discomfort when you're not hooked up to your devices because we become so used to being hooked up to our devices. They become like extensions of us. And when we don't have them, it's almost like we feel lost. So I had a little bit of that as usual. Anytime I go offline, I feel that. And I hung my hammock out outside this tiny cabin. It was the cutest little tiny cabin outside of Austin. super quiet, really serene. And I hung my hammock out there by the fire pit. And I grabbed a book and I just melted into that space. And soon it felt amazing to just be detached from my devices, especially because it feels like every single fucking day, when I wake up, there's more news of tyranny in our world. There's more of the agenda that is being rolled out. And it can be really tough. It can be really tough to take that in. Now, I consider myself to be a fucking warrior. I have a warrior spirit. My entire journey up until now, my 40 years of existence. Yes, I just had my 40th birthday. But my 40 years of existence have had me evoke my warrior spirit time and time again. And this time, this moment in time in humanity is no different. I felt my warrior spirit become activated in more profound ways than ever. And I'm not immune to not feeling the heaviness that is present in our world. You know, I've created ways to stay in connection with all of you. You know, I have a Telegram group, Awake and Aware, that community. If you're not part of it yet, just go to rubyfremon.com/Telegram. And I created that just in case I get booted off of social media, and it's a place where we can speak freely about what's going on for now. I also created an email list for the Awake and Aware community. And that's rubyfremon.com/awake-aware, because even Telegram isn't guaranteed, you know, it's privately owned. So who knows, one day that may become completely censored. And so by having you in my email community, that's a way for us to stay in touch, stay in contact. And I have all these different ways of getting the message out there, of taking a stand, of sharing the news they don't want you to see, of sharing the information they don't want you to see, the information that they continue to censor. I've created ways to do this, which has me spending hours upon hours each week researching, watching videos, listening to podcasts, diving into information to ensure that what I share with you is accurate. Because I think there's a lot of misinformation on all sides, you know, on all sides of this fucking fight. There is misinformation. It's really important for us to just focus on what's real. And with that, the hours that I spend curating information, sharing information, speaking up, I too get exhausted. You know, I get a lot of people messaging me like, I don't know how you do this. And let me tell you, if I wasn't so devoted to my self-care, to my health, to my well-being, both mind, body, and all mind, body, and spirit, that I wouldn't be able to do this. But I do my absolute best every single fucking day to take care of myself, to stay grounded. And on the days when I am feeling not as grounded as I'd like to be, or the days where I'm feeling like I'm a little deep in my emotions, those are the days that I take off. I don't mean take off work. I mean, just like take off looking at the heaviness. I take those days off of listening to the podcast and watching all the videos and opening up my Telegram. And for those of you who are in my Telegram group or in the Awake and Aware community, you've probably noticed that there is an inconsistency. I'm not sharing every week. I'm not even sharing every day. But this is why. Because I need to continue honoring myself throughout this process. And I share this with you today because, well, one, I didn't know I was going here. Like I said at the beginning, I have no idea what I'm going to talk about today, but I'm glad that this is where we're going. Because it's now been like 18 months? No, almost 20 months of us fighting this. Almost 20 fucking months. And it's natural to feel exhausted and to feel depleted and to feel lost and to feel grief and to feel despair. It's natural for us to feel all of this, even if we evoke our warrior spirit, because at the end of the day, we are humans. We are humans being in this existence. We are in this collective energy together. And to say that you are not impacted by the energy in our collective is saying that you have divided yourself from the collective, that you have created separation from the collective, because we are all interconnected. The energy is real. And as leaders, it's crucial. It's absolutely crucial that you stay devoted to your own work, to your own growth, to your own sovereignty, to nurturing yourself, to taking care of yourself, to giving yourself what you need. It's crucial that you honor your mind, body, and spirit these days, and that you do your best to anchor in, root down, and stay grounded. Because the last fucking thing we need is a bunch of leaders showing up on social media or in the digital space completely ungrounded in reactive states. Because this is not what is going to help us get through what is currently taking place in our world. We need you to be grounded. We need you to be fully fucking embodied. We need you to be a sovereign being. We need you to take care of yourself and your well-being, mind, body, and spirit. We need you to be the living, breathing example of what is possible for humanity right now. We need this. This is what our world needs to see. We have enough people preaching from their megaphones, yelling on their microphones, yelling from behind the screens, yelling at protests. What we don't have are enough leaders who are paving the way by being the way. By really setting an example of what is possible. Because adding hate to hate only creates more hate. Adding anger to anger only creates more anger. It's like the very unity that we all desire, it becomes less attainable when you yourself are reacting. You're actually furthering our divide. As leaders, we need to take responsibility right now for how we're showing up. We need to humble ourselves because this shit is tough. I don't care how strong you think you are. Again, I don't care if you feel that you embody the warrior spirit or you feel like you can fight every single damn day. You are a fucking human being. At the end of the day, you are a human being living on this 3D planet, okay? Forget the 7D, 5D, all that shit. We are living in a 3D fucking world. And you can be super spiritual. You can have all these beliefs. You can embrace the 7D life. And by doing so, you can also detach yourself from reality, from what is present right now in our collective and in humanity. And we need to be present in this. As leaders, we need to be present in this, in the collective energy, so that we can relate to our fellow brothers and sisters, so that we can speak with them versus at them. So we can hold space for compassionate and conscious conversations versus reactive conversations. This is what we need. This is what our world needs. This is what humanity needs. This is what we need to embrace at this time. And we get to weave this into our leadership. We get to weave this into our businesses, into our movements. And it's important for us to do so. Many of you are actually feeling misalignment in your businesses right now. I know this because I speak to many of you. A lot of you are unwilling to admit it. There's a lot of people still running their businesses the same, still showing up the same, yet also taking a stand for what's going on and feeling confused in regards to why things don't feel aligned anymore. Well, it's because the entire world has changed. The entire matrix has collapsed. Your own internal matrix has collapsed. So this is a call for you to not just rise higher, but go deeper. A lot of leaders focus on rising higher, when what we really need to be doing is building stronger roots. A tree cannot continue to grow higher if it doesn't have the proper root system to hold it. So as you continue to rise higher, you need to understand that you get to expand your root system. You get to dive deeper. And that might mean shifting your business, shifting your message, shifting your offers, your programs, your services to feel aligned with who you are today and for what it is that you stand for today. This is also embodied leadership in action. This is also you paving the way by being the way, by letting your business model the way. I'm just going to take a moment to breathe. And if you're listening, just breathe with me. It's just a few deep inhales and exhales in this moment. Just to show ourselves compassion for where we're at, to show ourselves grace for where we're at, to send some love to our fellow brothers and sisters around the world. It's important to give ourselves this space to keep our hearts open so that we lead with our hearts and not our reactive minds, which can be so easy these days. And this is exactly what I mean by staying grounded. It's easy to react. It's easy to yell, to scream, to fight. What's not easy is holding back so you can anchor down. And once you're anchored down, you can respond versus react. And that's what we need to see in leadership today, is more leaders responding, not reacting. Again, like reactivity on top of reactivity just creates more reactivity. We need to learn how to respond to these situations, to each other. We need to pave the way by being the way. So maybe that's the message for today. And that was just my runaround way of saying it. I'm going to leave it at that. And if you have other leaders in your life, people that you think would really benefit from hearing this message, today's message, please share this podcast with a friend. Share it on your social media. Help me get this podcast out to more leaders around the world. Every single download, when you actually download episodes, every single rating and review helps me get this message out to more leaders around the world. So if you have yet to do so, please download a few episodes and leave a rating and review on iTunes. To you, the incredible leader who is still listening to this episode, I honor you. I honor you for being here, for choosing this path, for taking a stand in your own way. Thank you. Thank you so much for joining me for another episode of Potent Truth, where I am taking you on a journey to challenge illusion and lead with sovereignty. Now, if you have yet to grab your copy of my book, Potent Leadership, head to potentleadership.com and grab your copy today. For those of you who have been waiting for the audiobook, it is coming. I promise you. I just booked the recording studio. So expect Potent Leadership to drop on Audible sometime in November of this year. And remember to connect with me on social while I'm there. My handle on all social media is at I am Ruby. And again, you can join my Telegram group, rubyfremon.com/Telegram. You can join my Awake and Aware email community, rubyfremon.com/awake-aware. To everyone who's already purchased the book and shared images of the book, thank you so much for your support with the book. If you have yet to do so, please share photos of yourself with the book and be sure to tag me in those photos at I am Ruby and use the hashtag Potent Leadership for a chance to get featured. And then finally, make sure you check back on Monday for a brand new episode of Potent Truth. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Aho, leaders.